3D Popcorn Machine Acrylic Nail Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to be showing you a 3D vintage popcorn machine, and this was a request, so whoever requested it, I hope you get to see it. And it's very cute. I've been loving doing vintage things recently. Like I know I did a vintage Santa Claus for Christmas and different things that just kind of are throwbacks. So I hope you guys like this as much as I do, and don't forget to click subscribe to all my future videos as well.
Begin with an overlay of light blue acrylic. Since the popcorn machine itself has some yellow and some red on it, I decided to kind of stick with that primary color theme and go for a blue background. Plus, blue backgrounds are always one of my favorites because it just seems like a happy sunny day. So after you have that layer of blue on there, make sure it is really nice and thin and smooth. Then you're going to want to encase the nail with a layer of clear acrylic just to make sure that it does have some strength and it's not, quite so flat. You want to make sure it has an apex built in there as well. So apply that over the top of the entire thing, working the acrylic down. Utilize the belly of your brush. I see so many other nail art tutorials where they just use the very tips of your brush, and the belly of the brush is there for a reason. It works product down the nail and creates such a smooth surface that the amount of filing you have to do is reduced significantly. So after you have all of that acrylic on there, go ahead and file the nail into shape. Hopefully you don't have to do too much filing if the acrylic is laid really nicely. And then after that, we're going to begin sculpting the popcorn machine with red acrylic. So whenever you work with red acrylic, especially if it's on top of a pale background such as this, you know that you run a risk of having it stain that wonderfully pale, icy background. And that's something that definitely happens. And if you're worried about that, if you just know that it's going to happen again, it depends on the brands that you're using. Some of them are a little more notorious for it than others. You may want to apply a layer of gel sealer over the background or gel top coat first, just to create sort of a stain resistant base on there, and that can definitely help. If you do that, now this is just, I've never had an issue with this, and I do it this way all the time. Some people say that they find that if you apply a slippery thing underneath the 3D art, like gel top coat or gel sealer, that the 3D art then pops off, like it just goes and it's gone. If you have that happening, what you can do is you can apply the layer of gel sealer to prevent the staining, and then buff right underneath where the middle of your little popcorn machine is going to be, and that will make it so that the acrylic won't pop off and it won't stain either, because underneath that it would have stained, but it's going to be covered up with the red anyway, so it doesn't matter. So all of those things can just help you if you find any of these issues are happening, and a lot of it's troubleshooting. Sometimes you might find that your acrylic will stain if it's really dry, because it seems like you have to work with it a little bit more, and it'll definitely stain if it's on the wet side. So if you have a very nice consistency to your acrylic, the risk of staining is way low because you're not having to chase it around the nail so much. So after you have your little base of your popcorn machine done, go ahead and take a mixed bead of white and yellow acrylic and add the popcorn that is already popped, and then add the silver pan up in one of the top corners. On either side of the popcorn machine, you're going to need to add the handle for where the little guy pushes down. I don't know why I say little guy. It could be a little woman or a big guy. See, sometimes I say these things and I don't know why. Anywho, me trying to do my best to be completely inclusive in my popcorn sculpting. Where the person pushes down on the handle so that the little stopper on the other side of it pops up. So you got a little handle on the one side, and I sculpted in a little popcorn box there. And the popcorn box does have the red and white stripes on it, but because I'm not going to bother doing all of that with acrylic, that's where paint comes in later on. Just sculpt it with white, add the red stripes afterwards. Going back with yellow, I'm going to be adding the little top on the popcorn machine. Go through like that. When you're sculpting your popcorn machine, do it in bits and pieces. All of these sharp lines can easily be ruined by trying to sculpt next to them too soon. So this is definitely a situation where you want to sculpt a little bit and then move on to a different area and then come back to it and let each element cure as you're working. With the same silver color that I used for the pan, I'm also going to be sculpting my wheel. Place down that bead of acrylic and let it set up for just a couple seconds. Basically, you want it to polymerize and all of the little powder granules to become completely saturated by the monomer. So it takes maybe 5 seconds, not too long. And then take a dotting tool dipped into some clear powder or into the silver, either way, and then you can use that dotting tool to stretch the acrylic out into a nice circle that is hollow in the middle. Fill in the hollow area with yellow, and then using gray, I'm going to be adding just the roof of my popcorn machine. So not the same silver color that I used for the other parts, but actually just a flat gray color is perfect for that. So go ahead and just finish that off. All of this sculpting I think is just so cute, and for me, this is a design that I can easily tell what it is from this stage. I almost, when I was sculpting, I'm like, man, nobody's ever going to know what this is, and then I get to this point, I'm like, oh, that's so cute, it looks like it belongs in a carnival. So it depends on the situation, but this one I thought I actually could recognize it easily. Some things, when you shrink them down so much to put them on a nail, it gets to be where you have to really look at it to decide what it is. So now that we're to the painting stage of things, I'm going to take some red paint and I'm going to be highlighting my popcorn machine because my red paint is significantly brighter than my red acrylic. So if you do it this way and don't completely cover up every single inch of that red acrylic, you get gorgeous highlights and it makes the whole design look extra three-dimensional. Take and use a little bit of that red to add the stripes on your popcorn bucket, and then with yellow, add little dots inside the popcorn and then little white dots on the popcorn. Make all those kernels stand out away from each other, just like so. And keep adding details to this. I took it, I would say, kind of to the far end of detailing it. I even wrote how much each bag of popcorn was, and even if you look at that, you can tell it's kind of a vintage throwback because I wrote 5 cents. I wish I could get a bag of popcorn for 5 cents. That would be awesome. It's amazing how much they charge for popcorn at places. I know I was somewhere with Melody and I needed a snack. And so I got popcorn. I think it was $8 for a tiny little box. I couldn't believe it. But anywho, we're going to go through and just keep drawing in all of those details like so. Add some black outlines. Because this is so small and I was a little bit concerned about it being a recognizable object, I did go full out with the outlines to make sure that the design itself was as crisp and clean as possible. And I'm very happy that the instant I showed this to both my mother and to Terrell, they both looked at it and said, oh, cute, popcorn. So it's completely recognizable, I'm convinced. But you never know with some of these designs that are a little more out there. You look at them like, what the heck? Yeah. So I also decided to go for the recognizable thing, and I actually wrote popcorn on the front of the machine. So going back with yellow paint, I'm going to first create just a little frame to go around the word. If you look at the vintage popcorn machines, a lot of them do have a nice little angled frame. They kind of remind me of an old-fashioned movie ticket or like a raffle ticket as far as the shape goes. And then within that, write the word popcorn. You have to use incredibly small lines for this because it is not much space. And if you don't have room for it, you could have just painted the frame and then said, you know what, I am not actually going to be writing out the word popcorn because I'd have to be losing my mind to attempt such a thing. It actually took me 2 tries to write that out. And usually I have things and I don't have to worry about that. I could get them, but it's just so small. And then I also wrote 5 cents on the top and then go through and apply gel sealer to the background and over the front glass area of the popcorn machine and matte top coat over the rest of the 3D art. And that is it. I hope you guys like it, and here's a Melody Minutes.
And Mickey. I gotta give Mickey kisses. That's right. There's Minnie. And dog. There's dog. Dinosaur. Hold on, we're not ready. Minnie, hold on. Tigger. Tigger can go right there. And giraffe. Okay, are you ready? Whoa! They're not all off. Oh, you still got dog. Oh, dog. Again? Okay. Mickey?
Did you try some of Devin's frosting for Devin's birthday cake?
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you decide to do a recreation, please tag me on Facebook or Instagram. I'd love to see them, and I'll see you next time. Bye!